Priscilla's plight. Priscilla Prendergast prefers unemployment in Dublin to working in London, not that she has a choice. Now back in her native Ireland, she ponders her people and considers her prospects. Irish men are better looking, for one thing, although that is not saying much. The sun shines more, but it is hard to enjoy the weather when you do not have the money to go anywhere. If she had an Irish boyfriend, she could enjoy the day by admiring his looks while spending his money, but alas, the only men interested in her are ill-favored and broke. Still, she is relieved to be home. Like London, Dublin is an international city, but, unlike the Brits, the Irish revel in their diversity. Londoners, of course, pretend that no one lives there but them, while the city is actually awash in foreigners, Swedes, Indians, Africans, Poles, Americans, Pakistanis, Aussies, Brazilians, Serbs, Jamaicans, and 100 types of Arabs, infesting its streets dressed in absurd costumes while polluting the air with their curries and jerk chicken. And the sing-song chatter, which passes for language beyond the pale, leaves the English feeling like they've missed the punchline. It is ironic and completely lost on them that the people who once ruled the earth now find the lesser races descending upon them to take back the wealth carried from their lands in British ships. The English deal with it by ignoring them. Priscilla sits on the steps of the Arts Building at Trinity College, pondering Ireland's easy tolerance while enjoying the foreign invasion sweeping past her towards the Book of Kells. The entrance to the old library opens as 100 tourists queue up for tickets. She likes all the variety. Foreigners breathe life into Dublin's streets and pour money into its coffers. If only there was some way for her to divert a bit of that dosh into her own pocket. Priscilla is a freelance writer who had been stringing for a London tabloid. She was fine with never getting a byline. She did not want her name associated with her employers anyway. She wrote creepy stories, and someone else got the credit, if you can call it that. It was a job, and that was a good thing. But now she knows that all these dodgy assignments have warped her perspective. It was bad enough having to knock on someone's door to ask them how they felt about the murder of their only daughter, or to tail an MP's gay lover and snap them in the act, thus ruining the politician's career in marriage, although the git deserved it. But most of the time she sat in cafes devising ways to make the royals look foolish, or unearthing gossip to humiliate them, or laying traps into which the unsuspecting twits almost always walked right into. What had worried her most was that she was getting really good at it. Granted, as assignments go, it was better than covering town planning meetings in Basingstoke or handicapped access to public buildings in Islington. It was better than trying to think of something interesting to say about the latest Iranian art flick, and it was certainly better than interviewing Arsenal's newest striker, whose grasp of the English language was, to put it charitably, challenged. Priscilla thinks that most footballers are so unaccustomed to using their brains, except as ball stops, that they do not know where the on switch is. Arsenal's collective IQ would not total to 3 digits, so it is lucky for them that their supporters will not tolerate any sort of criticism. They are off limits. Journalists who do not wish to have their heads bashed in will quietly correct the moron's grammar and run their stories without reminding the readers what clods their heroes really are. But despite this downside, it sure beat working. Priscilla's other job had been freelancing gay porn, a genre she had randomly stumbled into. At first it made her a little queasy, but the money was glorious. After a while, however, she became a little too good at it. When she began to make the boys do to each other what she wished they would do to her, she knew she was starting to enjoy it too much. But when one of her scenarios, set in the kitchen, brought new meaning to the expression, boning the chicken, her editor gently encouraged her to find a new creative outlet. Frustrated, Priscilla went on the offensive, raining silent terror down on the offending editor. But ultimately, her campaign of divine retribution backfired. The rag she was stringing for has just declared itself out of business, having been caught hacking into celebrities' cell phones, then publishing the filth which bubbled out. If Priscilla had some small hand in suggesting the idea to her editor, then she could not possibly have alerted the authorities to his dirty secret. And it could not possibly be traced back to her, or so she had thought. The fact that she was grinning like a cat with a mouse tail dangling from its mouth is only a coincidence. Then the grin fades, because somehow word did leak out, and she is now blacklisted. No one, not even the most disreputable, slimiest, scumbag tabloid, was willing to give her an assignment. She is redundant. Screwed. Priscilla has always had a cynical edge, but pandering for the tabloids has honed it to where she is even ridiculing the things she likes. It is fun, but sometimes she asks herself if there is anything she really does believe in. She has no bloke, no kids, and no prospects of either anytime soon. She is attractive without being pretty, which, guys being what they are, would normally be enough to attract some sort of man, but Priscilla has three fatal flaws. She is smarter than they are. She has a short attention span, and she has a wicked mouth, which she is finding increasingly hard to keep shut. Priscilla has become a niche market, too top shelf for the bourgeois male. She watches the crowd flow around her, magnetically drawn toward the old library. Loud, brightly dressed Americans always cheer her up. They are living proof that there is always someone worse off than you. A group of Arab women huddle over a guidebook. They are covered in posh sailcloth, wearing designer sunglasses, expensive shoes, makeup, and fine perfume. If they are trying to hide their femininity, they are doing a spectacularly bad job of it. A little blonde Scandinavian girl and a big Arab-looking guy are having some kind of confrontation over a tourist map. Priscilla walks over and says, "May I be of any help?" in the thickest BBC accent she can muster. "Yes, please," the girl says. "I was asking him if he knows the way to the Book of Kells, but he does not speak English." "What did she say?" the Arab guy asks in an accented but perfectly intelligible English. He is puzzled, unable to understand the Scandinavian girl either. "She wants to know where the entrance to the Book of Kells is," Priscilla says. "Is that not it right behind her?" replies the Arab. "What did he say?" asks the girl. "He says it's right behind you," Priscilla answers. She is really beginning to enjoy this. She has never translated English to English before. The girl spins around, spots the entrance, thanks Priscilla, gives him an embarrassed nod, and legs it. Priscilla turns back to him, beaming. "Better luck next time, mate," she says in Spitfire Cockney. "What?" "Ah," she laughs to herself, heading back to the stairs. The joys of not being British.